Hello, my name is Glenn Robinson, and welcome to another episode of my Reflective Walks podcast. Today, I would like to discuss the topic of perfectionism. I think this is an interesting one, solely on the basis that a lot of the time, how we present ourselves to the world, to the public, is one whereby we want to put our best foot forward. I think there are certain drawbacks, however, in giving a perfect image of ourselves, and this is what I'd like to discuss today. So first of all, to try to start with the definition of what perfectionism is, it's really displayed in many various areas in life, but perhaps the best place to start for me would be when I perhaps want to present a piece of work, whether it be a piece of writing or a podcast or some other output to the world. Of course, we want to give the best impression possible to others, but I think what distinguishes perfectionism is where there's a lack of toleration for any perceived mistakes or errors, and I think this is really the crux of the matter. If we are intolerant of such mistakes, whether they be spelling mistakes, grammatical mistakes, mistakes in speech, spluttering over one's words, using too many ums, we can be distracted to such an extent whereby, first of all, nothing ever gets done. If we're so fearful of presenting these mistakes and being vulnerable and open with these mistakes, we're less likely to, first of all, put anything out there, I also think that it also hinders our learning, our growth and development. So when we're in a position whereby we're so fearful of not being as potentially, in inverted brackets, good as we might ought to be, we never improve because it leads to inactivity through such a fearful attitude. So I think recently in my own life I have decided to be more tolerable with such mistakes. I've started to put podcasts out, started these reflective walks. I've continued to write, not so concerned about what others may think of my fictional writing, etc. I think this is ultimately important because really, when I was stalled in such perfectionism, nothing ever got done, and that had an impact in terms of hindering my own growth and creativity. And I think for me personally, to be a creative person is something that's really important to my own kind of mental health and well-being. So really, just to conclude today, what I'd like to say is that we all should be more tolerable of other people's flaws and apparent imperfections. We should recognise that in life, as in art, things can be messy. There can be rough edges. There can be mistakes made. But only by engaging, by talking to others, by writing about experiences of one life where we may potentially have blind spots, I think this is all kind of permissible. It's part of the ongoing conversation and open narrative, and that as a community of artists, as a society, we should appreciate more. So I guess, my advice to myself would be not to be too concerned about what size of audience I'm going to reach. Try not to be too concerned about the commodification of my output, but rather treat those things as within the lap of the gods. What I want to do is simply do the best life I can possible, and continue with my creative endeavours. So to anyone out there, I hope today you've appreciated my reflective walk, and if you did like the talk, please like and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you.